School, it is a prison of thought, and we are all birds trapped in a silver cage. Now, these are not my words. I quote Mark Twain. And if a person who's a leader in his own field, who has paved the way for thousands of other writers, says this about what he has went through, then what can students who are already experiencing such a system say? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am here to speak for the topic that the current education system has failed to create the leaders of tomorrow. Schooling is something that we need to survive in the daily world, and I'm sure that all of you would agree. This is a common statement. But when schooling becomes pressurized, becomes result-based and not process-oriented, that is where the major problem comes up. The first biggest problem with our education system in creating the worlders of tomorrow, the leaders of tomorrow, is this lack of autonomy that exists. Students have no control over their schedules. The school fixes the timetables, the school fixes the potions, everything is catered to them, but not in a positive way. Everything is already planned, and this reduces their capacity to plan things in the future. And when we become leaders, this planning is a very integral part of living. When we have to write papers, we have to pass bills in Parliament and all these things, we need to understand what planning goes into it. And when schools don't cater to such basic talents, that becomes a big problem. The second thing is fitting the children into slots. Now, this is a very common thing that is seen over almost all types of education systems. There is a certain expectation of a student to excel in a certain subject, to become a doctor or an engineer, as a teacher sees or as a parent sees fit. But in the middle of all this, why is it that we're leaving out the biggest individual in the room? Why are we leaving out the students' interests? As majority of people would say, it caters to certain occupations, for example, doctors and engineers, and they are available in surplus in India. But if you take into consideration the writers, the lawyers, and all the other occupations which are still required in the world, why is it that it is not existing? Now, coming back to my first sentence, school is a prison of thought. Now, though this may seem as a blasphemous statement, from my theses, I would say, school is very similar to a prison, but not in the level of torture. In a prison, we're taught that intelligence always comes from an authority. We're taught that discipline is always accepted. We're always taught that we should not go against what has been taught to us. We are made subservient to the needs and desires of others. And this categorization forces us to do things that we may not even desire. And what can be even worse than doing something you don't want to do? Now, on moving on to the conclusion, as I quoted Mark Twain in the beginning, I continue to do so. Do not let your education interfere with your schooling, and don't let your schooling interfere with your education. Because schooling and education has not become synonymous. Because catering to the needs of the student is what a school should do or an education system should do. And that is what the leaders of tomorrow require. And that is why I place so much importance on my conclusion on saying that I strongly believe that the leaders of tomorrow cannot be shaped with the iron ruling that schooling gives us. Thank you.